Welcome back to Infidelity Tales Lab. We're incredibly grateful for your support. Before we begin today's tale, tell us, which city or country are you joining us from? We love connecting with our global audience. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. The Anniversary Shattered. The intimate Italian restaurant buzzed with quiet conversation and clinking glasses. Mark Davidson sat alone at a corner table, his fingers tracing the edge of a small velvet box. Inside nestled a diamond necklace, 3 months of careful budgeting from his teacher's salary. He checked his watch again, 7:45 p.m. Eleanor was 15 minutes late. A waiter approached, offering a sympathetic smile. "More wine, sir?" "No, thank you. My wife should be here any minute." Mark's voice carried a forced optimism that didn't match the tension in his jaw. He adjusted his navy silk tie, another calculated expense for their 10th anniversary. At 35, Mark had built a life around structure and dedication. His students at Hamilton High respected him for his unwavering fairness and sharp intelligence. He'd never been late to class, never left an assignment ungraded. That same methodical nature had drawn Eleanor to him a decade ago. His phone buzzed. A text from Eleanor. "Traffic. Sorry. Almost there." Mark typed back, "Take your time. I got us the usual table." The restaurant door chimed. Eleanor swept in, her marketing executive polish on full display. Her tailored black dress and sleek haircut spoke of the success she'd found at TechFront Innovations. She spotted Mark and hurried over, her heels clicking against the floor. "I'm so sorry," she breathed, leaning down to kiss his cheek. Her perfume was different, something expensive and unfamiliar. The quarterly review meeting ran long, and then traffic was awful. "It's fine," Mark said, standing to pull out her chair. "You're here now. That's what matters." Eleanor's phone buzzed on the table. She glanced at it, then quickly turned it face down. "Let's order. I'm starving." Their waiter materialized with menus, but they hardly needed them. This place had been their special occasion restaurant for years. The red checkered tablecloths and warm lighting held a decade of memories. "The usual?" Mark asked, reaching across to touch her hand. She withdrew it to adjust her napkin. "Actually, I might try something new tonight." Eleanor's eyes skimmed the menu without really seeing it. Her phone buzzed again. Mark reached for the velvet box in his jacket pocket. "Before we order, I wanted to." The restaurant door opened again. A man entered with the confidence of someone who owned not just the restaurant, but the entire block. His tailored suit probably cost more than Mark's monthly salary. Mark recognized him instantly from the company photos on Eleanor's desk. Rex Kincaid, CEO of TechFront Innovations. Rex's presence filled the room, drawing admiring glances from other diners. His steel gray hair was perfectly styled, his smile practiced and predatory. He walked directly to their table, ignoring Mark completely. "Eleanor, darling." Rex's voice carried just enough volume to ensure nearby tables could hear. "I thought I might find you here." Eleanor's face drained of color. "Rex, Mark's hand tightened around the velvet box as Rex reached past him, focusing entirely on Eleanor. In one fluid motion, Rex's fingers found the simple gold chain around Eleanor's neck, a gift from Mark on their 5th anniversary. "This cheap trinket," Rex sneered, unhooking it with practiced ease. "It's beneath you, baby." Speaking of beneath you, his eyes flicked dismissively to Mark. "I've got the jet fueled up. Tokyo? Paris? Anywhere you want. My bed's got a better view than his couch, and we both know which one you prefer." The restaurant fell silent. Mark sat frozen, the weight of public humiliation pressing down on him as Rex dangled Eleanor's necklace like a trophy. "Rex, please," Eleanor whispered, but her hand was already reaching for her purse. Mark's voice came out surprisingly steady. "That's an interesting watch, Rex." He gestured to the gaudy timepiece on Rex's wrist. "Looks expensive." Rex smirked, extending his arm. "More than you'll make in a year, Teach." In one swift movement, Mark grabbed Rex's wrist and yanked. The watch's clasp snapped. "Oops," Mark said, his voice ice cold. "Guess your expensive trash is headed for the garbage disposal." Rex's face contorted with rage. "You little..." "Rex." Eleanor's voice cut through the tension. She stood, placing her hand on Rex's arm. "Let's go." Mark watched as his wife of 10 years gathered her things. She paused for a moment, looking at him one last time. There was fear in her eyes, but something else too. A cold dismissal that made his chest constrict. "Eleanor," Mark said quietly, "if you walk out that door with him—" She turned away, following Rex toward the exit. The restaurant's other patrons pretended to look anywhere else, their discomfort palpable. Mark sat alone at the table, the velvet box still in his hand. He opened it, staring at the diamond necklace he'd saved for months to buy. The waiter approached cautiously. "Sir, would you like me to wrap up some food to go?" "No." Mark closed the box with a snap. "But I would like the check. And a bottle of your most expensive wine, charged to Mrs. Davidson's card. She left it on file here last month." That night, Mark sat in their empty house, surrounded by photos of a life that had been a lie. He didn't cry. Instead, he opened his laptop and began to type, documenting everything. Times, dates, suspicious late nights at the office. He worked until sunrise, his teacher's precision turning to something darker, more calculating. When his phone rang at 6 a.m., it was Eleanor. "Mark, hi." He cut her off. "I've already called my lawyer. Don't come back to the house. Whatever you left here will be dealt with in the divorce. Please let me explain." "There's nothing to explain." His voice was devoid of emotion. "You made your choice. Now you get to live with it." He hung up before she could respond and opened his email. Subject line: request for extended leave of absence. He had work to do, and it wouldn't be in a classroom. Chapter 2: Unraveling Threads. The divorce papers arrived on a Tuesday, 3 weeks after the restaurant incident. Mark signed them without hesitation, his signature sharp and decisive. His lawyer, Sarah Chun, watched him with concern. "Mark, are you sure you don't want to contest any of this? The house, the assets. I don't want anything that reminds me of her." He slid the papers back across Sarah's desk. "But I do have a question. What can you tell me about Rex Kincaid?" Sarah's professional demeanor shifted slightly. "Officially, he's the CEO of Techfront Innovations, took over from his father 5 years ago. Unofficially," she pulled up a file on her computer. "He's been named in 3 sexual harassment suits, all settled out of court. 2 broken engagements, both with substantial NDAs. His father built the company from nothing. Rex just inherited it." Mark absorbed this information, his expression unchanging. "And his business practices? There are rumors." Sarah lowered her voice. "Nothing proven, but whispers about creative accounting, misuse company funds. The board keeps it quiet because the stock price is strong." "I see." Mark stood, straightening his jacket. "Thank you, Sarah. Send me your final bill." At home, a small motel room now, Mark began his research. His laptop screen glowed into the early hours as he dug through public records, news articles, social media posts. He created a timeline, linking dates and events with professional precision. A knock at his door interrupted his work. Detective Ben Carter stood in the hallway, a 6-pack of beer in hand. "Thought you might need this," Ben said, pushing past Mark into the room. He surveyed the papers spread across the bed, the notes taped to the walls. "Jesus, Mark, what are you doing?" "Research." Mark took a beer, but didn't open it. "Did you find anything?" Ben sighed, settling into the room's single chair. "You sure you want to know?" "Tell me." They've been seeing each other for 8 months. Hotel receipts, restaurant bills, weekend trips disguised as business conferences. She used her corporate card for most of it. Probably why they got sloppy. Mark's hand tightened around the beer bottle. 8 months? That's not all. Ben pulled out his phone, showing Mark a series of photos. Eleanor and Rex entering hotels, intimate dinners, a weekend in wine country. She's not the first. He has a pattern, finds ambitious women, promises them the world, moves on when he's bored. And Eleanor? Was she just another conquest? No. Ben hesitated. She's different. He's keeping her close, grooming her for a senior position. She's clever, Mark. She saw an opportunity and took it. Mark finally opened his beer, taking a long drink. "Tell me about the company." "Techfront Innovations." It's his playground. Daddy's money, daddy's connections. Rex talks big about being self-made, but Ben shrugged. He's all surface, no substance. But he's dangerous, Mark. He's got friends in high places. Not for long. Mark turned back to his laptop. I need a favor, Ben. Can you get me their security protocols? Building access? IT systems? Ben stood, finishing his beer. Mark, whatever you're planning, can you get them or not? Yeah. Ben moved toward the door. But be careful. Revenge isn't always worth the cost. This isn't about revenge. Mark's voice was cold. This is about justice. After Ben left, Mark pulled out Eleanor's old journals. He'd found them while packing up the house, hidden in a box of tax records. The entries from the past year told their own story. Met the new CEO today. Rex Kincaid. He's nothing like what I expected. So dynamic, so alive. Makes me wonder if I settled too early. Another late meeting with Rex. Mark didn't even notice I was gone. He's so predictable. Safe. Rex says I deserve more. Maybe he's right. Rex took me to dinner tonight. Real dinner, not some cheap Italian place with checkered tablecloths. He sees my potential. Says I'm wasting my talents living this small life. Mark read each entry carefully, his teacher's mind noting patterns, tracking the transformation of his wife into a stranger. He opened his phone, scrolling through photos of their life together. 10 years of memories, all tainted now. His cousin Amelia called just before midnight. I got your message, she said without preamble. You sure about this? Did you find anything? Oh, I found plenty. Amelia's voice held the eager edge of a journalist on a scent. Rex's company credit card statements are interesting reading. 5-star hotels, private jets, gambling in Vegas. All written off as business expenses. And there's more shell companies, offshore accounts. The board either doesn't know or doesn't care. Can you prove any of it? Not yet. But give me time. What exactly are you planning, Mark? He looked at the wall of research, at Eleanor's journals, at the photos of her with Rex. I'm planning to teach them both a lesson about consequences. Be careful, cousin. People like Rex, Kincaid, don't play fair. Neither do I. Not anymore. After hanging up, Mark opened his laptop again. He'd been teaching himself coding, cybersecurity basics. His browser history was full of tutorials, forums, dark web access points. The skills came easily to him. Teaching had given him patience, attention to detail. He started with Eleanor's email, then her social media. Basic security, predictable passwords. Rex's accounts were harder, but not impossible. Mark worked, gathering information, building his understanding of their new life together. A text from Eleanor interrupted his work. Mark, please. Can we talk? He deleted it without responding and returned to his research. On his wall, the timeline grew more detailed. Red strings connected events, locations, transactions. In the center, a photo of Rex and Eleanor at a charity gala, both smiling, his hand possessively on her waist. Mark stared at the photo, remembering the restaurant, the public humiliation, the cold dismissal in Eleanor's eyes. His hand clenched, crumpling the papers he held. Lesson 1, he muttered, turning back to his laptop. Never underestimate a teacher's capacity for discipline. Chapter 3, a seed of ruthlessness. The gym was empty at 4 a.m., just how Mark preferred it. He moved through his routine with focused intensity, weights, cardio, then an hour of boxing. The physical transformation had started the day after the restaurant incident. His body, once soft from years of classroom work, was becoming a weapon. You're here early again, said Miguel, the overnight security guard. Can't sleep? Mark wrapped his hands, preparing for another round with the heavy bag. Sleep is overrated. Lady Troubles? Miguel had seen the change in Mark over the past months, the growing hardness in his eyes. No. Mark's fist connected with the bag, the impact echoing through the empty gym. Just self-improvement. After the gym, Mark returned to his motel room. The walls were covered with new information, financial records, travel itineraries, email exchanges. He'd been studying psychology too, understanding the mechanics of manipulation, the architecture of power. His phone buzzed with a text from Amelia. Got something big. Meet me? They met at a coffee shop across town, away from their usual haunts. Amelia looked excited, her reporter's instincts on high alert. Look at this. She slid a folder across the table. Rex's company credit card statements. Last 6 months. Mark flipped through the pages, his teacher's eye-catching patterns. Vegas, Atlantic City, private poker games. He's got a gambling problem, Amelia said. Big one. And he's using company funds to cover it. But here's the interesting part. Eleanor's been helping him hide it. How? Creative accounting. She's good with numbers. Always has been. She's been reclassifying his gambling losses as business expenses, client entertainment. Amelia leaned forward. But that's not all. I found something else, something about his father. Mark looked up sharply. Tell me? The company transfer wasn't as clean as everyone thinks. There were conditions in the old man's will, requirements Rex had to meet to maintain control. One of them was maintaining ethical business practices. And if he doesn't, control reverts to the board. Amelia's eyes gleamed. Mark, if someone could prove he's been misusing company funds, he'd lose everything. Mark closed the folder. You haven't published any of this? Not yet. I'm still gathering evidence. But Mark, she touched his hand. Be careful. Rex isn't just rich, he's connected. And Eleanor. She's not the person we thought she was. No, Mark agreed, his voice hard. She's not. That afternoon, Mark sat in his car outside TechFront Innovations headquarters. Through his zoom lens, he could see Eleanor's office on the 20th floor. Rex entered, closed the blinds. Mark's hand tightened on the camera. His phone rang. Ben Carter. Got what you asked for, the detective said. Building security specs, IT protocols. But Mark, this is serious stuff. Corporate espionage territory. Send it to my secure email. Mark, just send it, Ben. That night, Mark practiced his new skills. The online tutorials were paying off. He could navigate firewalls now, plant backdoors, extract data. He wasn't just learning. He was becoming something new, something dangerous. His laptop pinged, an alert from one of his monitoring programs. Rex had just booked a private jet, a weekend trip to Aspen. The passenger list included Eleanor. Mark opened a new browser window, fingers flying over the keyboard. In minutes, he was inside the airline system. A few more keystrokes, and the booking disappeared. Let them deal with that tomorrow. It was a small thing, but it was just the beginning. He had bigger plans, darker plans. The man who had graded papers and coached debate teams was gone. In his place was someone harder, someone who understood that real power came from knowledge and the willingness to use it. A text from Eleanor lit up his phone. I know you're watching us. Please stop. Mark smiled, a cold expression that would have shocked his former students. He typed back a single word, good. The next morning, he drove to Hamilton High School. Principal Roberts was surprised to see him. Mark, we've missed you. The substitute is doing fine, but I need more time, Mark interrupted. Personal leave. Family emergency. Principal Roberts studied him, noting the changes, the newly muscled frame, the hardened expression. This isn't like you, Mark. You love teaching. People change. Mark placed his leave request on the desk. Sometimes they have to. In his motel room that evening, Mark reviewed his progress. The physical training was paying off. His body was becoming a machine, efficient and powerful. The martial arts videos had taught him the basics, but he'd moved beyond them now, developing his own style. His phone rang. Amelia again. I found Anthony, she said without preamble. The restaurant owner? Rex's friend, yes. But friend might be stretching it. Anthony's been complaining about Rex never paying his bills, always demanding special treatment. The restaurant's struggling because of him. Mark considered this. Can you arrange a meeting? Already did. Tomorrow noon. But Mark, Amelia paused. He's scared of Rex. You'll need to handle this carefully. The meeting with Anthony revealed more than Mark expected. The restaurant owner was bitter, resentful of Rex's arrogance. He thinks he owns me, Anthony spat. Brings his women here, demands private rooms, special menus. Never pays. Says it's good publicity for me to have him here. Mark leaned forward. What if you could do something about it? Like what? Like helping me? Mark's voice was soft, dangerous. I have a plan, but I need eyes and ears inside. That private room he likes, it would be perfect for a hidden camera. Anthony paled. He'd kill me if he found out. He won't. And when I'm done, he won't be in any position to hurt anyone ever again. Later that night, Mark went through his daily routine. Push-ups, sit-ups, then meditation. The physical exhaustion helped clear his mind, helped him focus on what needed to be done. His laptop chimed, Another alert. Rex and Eleanor were planning a company party, a celebration of TechFront's latest acquisition. Mark read through the details, already seeing opportunities. A text from Ben, "You sure about this path?" Mark didn't respond. Instead, he opened his training journal, reviewing his progress. The physical changes were obvious, but it was the mental transformation that mattered most. He was learning to think like his enemies, calculating, ruthless, focused on power. Eleanor's contact photo appeared on his phone. Another call. He let it ring, watching her name flash on the screen. She'd been trying to reach him more frequently lately, perhaps sensing something was coming. He opened his laptop, checking the surveillance programs he'd put in place. Rex and Eleanor's digital lives were an open book to him now. Emails, messages, calendar appointments. He wasn't just gathering information anymore. He was learning to think like them, to anticipate their moves. The gym would be opening soon. Another session, another step toward his goal. The man who had once taught history was becoming a force of nature, driven by a single purpose. The old Mark Davidson, the trusting husband, the dedicated teacher, was gone. In his place was someone new, someone who understood that forgiveness was weakness, and mercy was a luxury he couldn't afford. He had learned his lesson well. In a world of predators, the only way to survive was to become one yourself. "Time for class," he muttered, heading for the door. But the lessons he planned to teach had nothing to do with history, and everything to do with revenge. Chapter 4: Subtle Infiltration. Mark sat in his motel room, surrounded by 3 laptops running different programs. His fingers moved across the keyboards with practiced efficiency. On one screen, Eleanor's emails scrolled past. On another, Rex's calendar populated with appointments. The third showed a complex network map of TechFront's internal systems. "You've been busy," Ben said, closing the motel room door behind him. He placed a USB drive on the desk. "Building security protocols like you asked, but I had to call in favors for this." Mark picked up the drive without looking away from his screens. "I appreciate it. What exactly are you doing with all this?" "Learning their patterns." Mark gestured to one of the screens. "Eleanor takes lunch at 1:15 p.m., not noon like the rest of the office. Rex has a standing poker game Thursday nights at the Metropolitan Club. They meet in his private office Tuesdays and Fridays, always after the cleaning staff leaves." Ben picked up one of the papers scattered across the bed. "Jesus, Mark, you've got their whole lives mapped out here. Knowledge is power." Mark opened a new terminal window. "And they've gotten sloppy. Eleanor uses the same password for everything, our wedding date. Rex doesn't even bother changing his default passwords." "Mark," Ben hesitated. "This is more than just gathering information. This is what they deserve." Mark's voice was cold. "Did you get the hotel records?" Ben sighed, pulling out his phone. "Yeah, the Grand Plaza, room 1542. They've been meeting there twice a week for months. But that's not all." He showed Mark a series of photos. "Rex has a pattern. Before Eleanor, there was Jessica Torres, VP of Marketing. Before her, Sarah Chun from Legal. All married women, all ambitious." Mark studied the photos. And what happened to them? Jessica resigned suddenly, moved to Chicago. Sarah had a nervous breakdown, hasn't worked since. Rex likes to break things, Mark. And people are just things to him. Mark's phone buzzed. A text from Amelia. Found something big about Rex's gambling. "Call me?" He dialed her number, putting the phone on speaker. "He's in deep," Amelia said without preamble. "Vegas, Atlantic City, private games. He's losing millions, Mark. Company money. Can you prove it?" "Better. I found his bookie. Guy named Vincent. He's willing to talk. For a price." Mark opened his laptop's finance tracking program. "How much?" "10,000. Cash. Done. Set it up." Ben watched Mark transfer the money. "That's your savings. Money is just a tool." Mark closed the laptop. Like everything else. Later that night, Mark sat in his car outside Anthony's restaurant. Through his camera feed, he watched Rex and Eleanor at their usual table. Rex was berating a waiter, his face flushed with anger. Mark's phone connected to the restaurant security system, another gift from Anthony. He could hear Rex's voice clearly. "You call this wine? I wouldn't use it to clean my shoes. Get me the 82 Bordeaux. Now!" "I'm sorry, sir," the waiter stammered. That's our last bottle, and it's reserved for. Do you know who I am? Rex stood, towering over the waiter. I made this place. Without me, it would be nothing. Eleanor touched Rex's arm. Rex, please. People are staring. Let them stare. Rex knocked over his water glass. I own them. I own all of this. Mark smiled, starting his recording software. Rex's arrogance would be his undoing. Each outburst, each abuse of power was another piece of evidence. His phone buzzed. Another text from Amelia, meeting with Vincent tomorrow. 10 a.m. The old pier. Mark replied, I'll be there. He turned back to his surveillance. Through the camera, he watched Eleanor excuse herself, heading to the bathroom. Her phone lay on the table. Mark accessed it remotely, a trick he'd learned from underground hacking forums. Eleanor's text messages appeared on his screen. Recent conversations with Rex. We need to be more careful. Mark's been asking questions. Don't worry, baby. He's nothing. A pathetic teacher who can't satisfy you. But what if he finds out about the money? He won't. Trust me. Mark's jaw tightened. He copied the messages to his secure drive. More evidence, more ammunition. The next morning, Mark met Vincent at the pier. The bookie was a small man with nervous eyes. Mr. Kincaid, Vincent said, pocketing Mark's cash. He's a regular. Likes to bet big on basketball, horses. Always pays late. How much does he owe? $3 million. Says he'll have it next week. Vincent laughed. He always says that. And the money he uses to pay. Company checks. Made out to fake consulting firms. Vincent handed Mark a folder. I keep records. Insurance, you know? Mark took the folder. You never met me? Met who? Vincent disappeared into the morning crowd. Back in his motel room, Mark reviewed the evidence. Bank statements, betting slips, photos of Rex at high-stakes tables. All traceable back to TechFront's accounts. His phone rang. Ben again. Mark, something's happening at TechFront. Board meeting called suddenly. Rumors about financial irregularities. Right on schedule. Mark opened his email. Check your inbox. What did you do? I sent some of Vincent's records to the board. Anonymously, of course. Just enough to make them nervous. You're playing a dangerous game. No. Mark's voice was steel. I'm winning a war they started. He hung up and opened his surveillance program. Eleanor's office camera showed her pacing. Phone to her ear. Rex, we need to talk. The board is asking questions about the money. What are we going to do? Mark switched to Rex's office feed. The CEO was at his desk, face red with rage. Shut up and listen, Rex snarled into his phone. No one can prove anything. I've covered our tracks. Mark opened his laptop, fingers flying over the keys. Time to prove Rex wrong. Chapter 5, The Twisted Dance. The manipulation began subtly. Mark created dozens of social media accounts, each with its own carefully crafted backstory. Former employees, jilted lovers, angry investors, all sharing whispers about Rex's past. Remember that Christmas party? One account posted. When Rex cornered Sarah in his office? 3 years at TechFront, another shared. Watched him destroy so many lives. Eleanor couldn't resist reading the comments. Mark watched through her phone's camera as she scrolled late into the night, her face growing more troubled. He switched tactics, creating an anonymous email account, concern.employee@securemail.com. The first message went to Eleanor. Did you know about Monica? His last special project before you? She tried to warn us all. Eleanor's response came within minutes. Who is this? Someone who cares about history, not repeating. Ask him about the restraining order. Mark watched Eleanor's next meeting with Rex through the office cameras. She was distant, distracted. When Rex touched her arm, she flinched. What's wrong? Rex demanded. Nothing. Eleanor moved away. Just, have you ever heard of someone named Monica? Rex's face darkened. Who told you about her? So it's true? That bitch was unstable. She misunderstood everything. Eleanor's voice shook. Like Sarah misunderstood? And Jessica? Are you spying on me? No, people are talking, Rex. Online. About your past. Rex slammed his fist on the desk. I'll find who's spreading these lies. They'll regret it. Mark smiled, sending another anonymous email. Ask him about the company money, the gambling debts, the fake consulting firms. The next day, he watched their argument through the security cameras. $3 million? Eleanor's voice rose. You lost $3 million of company money? Keep your voice down. Rex grabbed her arm. It's under control? Like Monica was under control? Or Sarah? You ungrateful bitch. Rex's grip tightened. After everything I've given you? Given me? Eleanor wrenched free. You've made me your accomplice. If anyone finds out about the money, no one will find out. And if they do, your signature is on those transfers too. Mark recorded everything, adding it to his growing collection of evidence. Then he switched to his Rex persona, sending messages from a different anonymous account. She's getting nervous, isn't she? They all do, eventually, when they realize what you really are. Rex's response was immediate. Who the fuck is this? Just someone who knows about Monica. And Sarah. And the money. Does Eleanor know you're already grooming her replacement? That pretty new intern in marketing. Mark watched Rex storm through the office, paranoid and angry. He screamed at assistants, canceled meetings, jumped at shadows. The next phase involved Anthony's restaurant. Mark had helped him install tiny cameras in the private dining room, Rex's favorite spot for business meetings. He's coming tonight, Anthony said over the phone. With some board members? Perfect. Mark activated the recording software. Just act normal. The dinner was a disaster. Rex, already paranoid from the anonymous messages, drank too much. The cameras caught everything. You think you can question my decisions? He slurred at the board members. I built this company. Your father built this company, one board member corrected. We're concerned about some financial irregularities. Fuck you. I own you all. Mark sent the video to his contact list of financial reporters. Within hours, it was online. TechFront CEO's drunken rant raises questions. Eleanor saw the video at work. Mark watched her face drain of color as she read the comments. Another spoiled, rich kid destroying his daddy's company. Where's all the money going? Gambling? Drugs? Remember Monica? Sarah? Pattern of abuse. She tried calling Rex. No answer. His office cameras showed him pacing, phone in hand, texting someone named Crystal, the new intern. Mark sent Eleanor one final email. He's with her now, like he was with you when you were with Mark. History repeats. The response came at midnight. Please. Who are you? What do you want? Justice, Mark replied. For Monica. For Sarah. For Mark. For everyone he's destroyed. He watched Eleanor cry through her phone's camera. Then he sent the same video to Rex with a different message. She's talking to reporters, trying to save herself. Smart girl. Rex's response was predictable. Rage, accusations, threats. The next day, their office confrontation played out on Mark's screens. You leaked the video. Rex shouted. I didn't. Rex, please. Liar. You're trying to destroy me, like all the others. Mark recorded everything, adding it to his files. The endgame was approaching. Chapter 6. The bait is set. Mark's final attack targeted Rex's greatest weakness, his gambling addiction. Using the access codes from Vincent, he infiltrated Rex's online betting accounts. Watch this, he told Ben over the phone. I'm about to turn $3 million in gambling debt into 30. Mark, that's... Justice. Mark's fingers flew over the keyboard. He used company money. Eleanor helped him hide it. Now they both pay. He placed bets on Rex's favorite sports, basketball, horse racing, boxing. Each bet calculated to lose. $1 million bets, all traced back to TechFront's accounts. The losses hit Monday morning. Mark watched through the office cameras as Rex discovered them. Impossible! Rex screamed at his computer. These are my bets. Someone hacked. His phone buzzed. A text from Mark's anonymous number. Gambling problem? Call 1-800 helpline. Before it's too late. Rex threw his phone against the wall. Find out who did this, he screamed at his assistant. Now! But there was nothing to find. Mark had routed everything through untraceable servers, using techniques learned from dark web hackers. Eleanor confronted Rex that afternoon. Mark watched through multiple cameras, recording everything. 30 million? Her voice shook. Are you insane? I didn't place those bets. Rex grabbed her shoulders. Someone setting me up. Maybe you. Me? I trusted you. I left my husband for you. Your husband? Rex's face changed. That pathetic teacher. Mark would never. Shut up. Rex shoved her away. You think I don't know you've been talking to reporters? Trying to save yourself? Mark sent the recording to Amelia. Ready for your big story? Her reply was immediate. Meeting my editor now. This is huge, Mark. Corporate fraud, gambling addiction, workplace abuse. Make it hurt. The story broke Wednesday morning. TechFront CEO's house of cards crumbles, complete with video evidence, financial records, witness statements. Mark watched Rex's meltdown through the security cameras. The CEO smashed his office, screamed at employees, threatened lawsuits. Then the board called an emergency meeting. Mark had made sure they received copies of everything. The gambling records, the abuse allegations, the videos. His phone buzzed. Anthony. He's here, the restaurant owner said. Completely drunk. Making scenes. Perfect. Mark activated the hidden cameras. Keep him talking. Rex's drunken rant was Oscar-worthy. He threatened Anthony, bragged about his conquests, admitted to embezzling company funds. I own this town, he slurred into the camera. That bitch Eleanor? Thinks she can betray me? I'll destroy her like all the others. Mark sent the video to his media contacts. Within hours, it was viral. Eleanor saw it at work. Mark watched her collapse at her desk, finally understanding the depth of her mistake. His phone buzzed. A text from her. Mark, I know it's you. Please. He didn't respond. Instead, he sent one final email to the board of directors. Complete records of Eleanor's involvement in hiding Rex's gambling losses. The hammer was about to fall. Mark leaned back in his chair, watching his screens. Rex was spiraling, Eleanor was panicking, and the media was circling. Almost done, he told Ben over the phone. What's left? Mark opened his final file, photos of Rex with Crystal, the intern. Taken yesterday, in the same hotel where he'd started his affair with Eleanor. The coup de grace, Mark said. Tomorrow, they both learn what true betrayal feels like. Chapter 7. The Public Downfall. The TechFront boardroom buzzed with tension. Mark watched through his surveillance feed as 12 board members sat around the mahogany table, papers spread before them. Rex stood at the head, his usual arrogance cracking under pressure. These allegations are ridiculous, Rex said, his voice tight. Someone's trying to destroy this company. Board member James Chan held up a tablet. These betting records are authenticated, Rex. 30 million in company funds gone. Care to explain? Those records are fake. I was hacked. Like the surveillance videos are fake? Another board member pushed forward a stack of papers. The drunk rants at Anthony's restaurant? The affairs with employees? The pattern of harassment? Rex's face reddened. You can't believe. We've seen the evidence. James Chen's voice cut like steel. All of it, including Ms. Davidson's role in hiding your gambling losses. Mark switched camera views. Eleanor sat in her office, watching her phone explode with notifications. News alerts, social media mentions, text messages. Her hands shook as she read the headlines. TechFront CEO's empire crumbles. Gambling, harassment, fraud. Board calls emergency meeting amid scandal. Former victims speak out against Rex Kincaid. Her phone rang. Rex, you betrayed me, he shouted before she could speak. Rex, I didn't. They know everything. The money transfers, the cover-ups. Your name is all over the documents. What documents? Rex, what's happening? Shut up. Just shut up and listen. Delete everything. All emails. All texts. Now. Mark opened his laptop, triggering his final protocol. Eleanor's screen filled with pop-ups. Her deleted emails restoring themselves. Hidden files surfacing. Backup drives activating. Her phone buzzed again. A message from an anonymous number. The truth always comes out. In the boardroom, Rex's phone chimed. A video link. He clicked it, and his face went pale. I own this town. Video. Rex slurred, sprawled in Anthony's restaurant. That bitch Eleanor? Just another trophy. Like Monica, like Sarah. Use them up. Throw them away. Turn it off, Rex growled. There's more, James Chen said. Much more. The board has reached a decision. Mark switched feeds again. TechFront's lobby was filling with reporters. News vans lined the street. His phone buzzed. Amelia. It's everywhere, she said. National networks picked it up. Rex Kincaid, the fallen king of tech. Good. Mark's voice was cold. Phase 1 complete. Mark, Eleanor is being crucified too. Her reputation is exactly what she deserves. He hung up, turning back to his screens. Eleanor was throwing papers into her bag, mascara streaking her cheeks. Her office phone rang. Human Resources. Ms. Davidson, please report to the conference room. The board needs to discuss your involvement in recent events. In the boardroom, Rex lunged across the table. You can't do this to me. I built this company. Your father built this company, James Chung corrected. You destroyed it. Security will escort you out. Mark watched Rex's final march through TechFront's halls. Employees turned away, whispered behind hands. Security guards flanked him, hands ready on their radios. His phone dinged, stock alerts. TechFront shares plummeting. Another message from his anonymous account to Eleanor. How does it feel? Watching it all burn? She sat in the conference room, facing stern faces. The evidence is clear, HR Director Phillips said. You helped conceal massive financial fraud. The board has no choice. You're terminated, effective immediately. Please, Eleanor whispered. I can explain. Save it for the SEC investigation. Mark leaned back, watching his revenge unfold across multiple screens. Rex being escorted to his car, face twisted with rage. Eleanor walking out with a cardboard box, former colleagues avoiding her eyes. His phone buzzed. Ben, you did it, the detective said. They're finished? Not yet. Mark closed his laptops. Time for the final act. Chapter 8. The Personal Confrontation. The Italian restaurant looked exactly as it had that night. Red checkered tablecloths, soft lighting, the scent of garlic and wine. Mark sat at the same table, this time by choice. His phone buzzed with 2 separate confirmations. You're insane if you think I'm coming. Rex, please, we need to talk. Eleanor. Mark replied to both. 7 p.m. Your reputations are destroyed. Your careers are over. Don't you want to know how? They arrived separately. Eleanor first, clutching her designer bag like a shield. Then Rex, his expensive suit wrinkled, eyes wild. Sit, Mark commanded. They did. You, Rex snarled. You did this. I did. Mark's voice was calm. Would you like to know why? We'll sue you, Rex threatened. I'll destroy. You'll do nothing. Mark pulled out his phone. Because I'm not done. He played a video, security footage from Rex's office. Him and Eleanor planning the money transfers, discussing how to hide the gambling losses, laughing about Mark. I have hundreds of these, Mark said. Years of evidence. Everything you thought was deleted, hidden, buried. I have it all. Eleanor's face crumpled. Mark, please. Don't. His voice could freeze fire. You lost the right to beg when you walked out that door with him. I made a mistake. A mistake? Mark laughed, a sound without warmth. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. You systematically destroyed our marriage while helping him steal millions. Rex stood, fists clenched. You think you can threaten me? Mark rose smoothly, his new physicality obvious. Sit down, Rex. Before I make you. You little, Rex swung. Mark moved with practiced efficiency. One hand caught Rex's wrist, the other struck his sternum. The CEO crashed back into his chair, gasping. I'm not the same man you humiliated, Mark said. I learned, I trained, I planned. While you were destroying lives, I was becoming someone who could destroy you. Why? Eleanor whispered. Why not just divorce me and move on? Because actions have consequences. Mark's eyes were glacial. You chose power over loyalty, money over vows. Now you get to live with that choice. He opened his laptop, showing them email inboxes, bank accounts, social media feeds. I own your lives now, he continued. Your phones, your computers, your accounts. I see everything. Try to rebuild? I'll be there. Start over somewhere else? I'll follow. You wanted to play games with people's lives? Welcome to the last game you'll ever play. Rex lunged again. This time, Mark's counter put him on the floor, arm twisted behind his back. Feel that? Mark increased the pressure. That's what helplessness feels like. That's what you made others feel. You're crazy, Rex gasped. No. Mark released him. I'm justice. Eleanor stood, tears streaming. I'm sorry, Mark. Truly. Sorry doesn't fix what you broke. He turned away. Now get out. Both of you. Remember this night. Remember that everything you lost because of your own choices. They left separately, broken. Mark sat alone at the table, ordering a bottle of wine. His phone buzzed. Amelia. It's done? It's done. Chapter 9. The New Dawn. The mountain house was small but solid, perched on a ridge overlooking the valley. Mark stood on his deck, drinking coffee, watching sunrise paint the peaks gold. His phone buzzed. Ben. Rex tried leaving the country, the detective reported. His accounts are frozen. He's moving in. Eleanor? Living with her sister. Can't find work. Your evidence made sure of that. Mark nodded, satisfaction cold in his chest. Good. You're really not going to let this go, are you? They made their choices, Mark said. Now they live with them. He ended the call, checking his monitoring programs. Rex's latest job applications, all rejected. Eleanor's attempts to scrub her online presence, all futile. His laptop chimed. Amelia. The paper's doing well, she said. That story made my career. Thanks to you. You earned it. Will you come to dinner? The family misses you. Mark considered. Maybe. Things to do first. He opened his email. Another rejection letter to Rex's job application. Another concerned citizen tipped to Eleanor's potential employers about her fraud history. Some would call it cruel. Mark called it justice. A knock at his door. Anthony. The restaurant's thriving, the owner said, handing over a bottle of wine. Without Rex's patronage, we're actually making money. Good. Mark invited him in. Stay for coffee? They sat on the deck, watching the mountains. Mark's phone buzzed with updates. Rex spotted at a homeless shelter, Eleanor working retail under a false name. You know, Anthony said, most people would have moved on by now. I'm not most people. Mark's voice was steel. They thought they could play with lives without consequences. I taught them differently. Later, he drove to Hamilton High. His students straightened as he entered. His reputation preceded him now. Today's lesson, he announced, is about consequence, about justice, about the price of betrayal. They leaned forward, eager. They'd heard rumors about their history teacher, about how he brought down a CEO, about how he never, ever forgave. Mark smiled, cold and satisfied. He had built a new life, yes, but he would never stop making sure Rex and Eleanor lived with their choices. That was his legacy now, the teacher who taught the ultimate lesson about betrayal. His phone buzzed one last time. Eleanor, using a burner phone. Please, she begged. Let us try to rebuild. Mark blocked the number without replying. Some lessons needed to last forever. In his mountain house, surrounded by screens showing broken lives, Mark Davidson smiled. He had become more than they ever imagined, more than a teacher, more than a husband. He had become vengeance itself. And he would never, ever stop teaching that lesson. Epilogue. 5 years later. The mountain air was crisp as Mark Davidson stood on his expanded deck, watching the sunrise paint the peaks in golden hues. At 40, his body remained honed and strong, a testament to his unrelenting discipline. The small house had grown into a modern fortress, complete with a state-of-the-art security system and a basement command center that would make intelligence agencies envious. His phone buzzed. Ben Carter, now the police captain. Thought you want to know? Ben said without preamble. Rex tried applying for a management position at a tech startup in Singapore. Under a new name, Mark smiled, moving to his command center. Multiple screens lined the walls, each running sophisticated tracking programs. Let me guess. The company mysteriously received an anonymous tip about his past, along with full documentation of the TechFront scandal. Application denied within hours. Good. Mark pulled up his monitoring dashboard. How's retirement treating him? If you can call it that. He's living in a small apartment in Queens, working part-time as a sales clerk. Drinks too much, gambles with what little he has left. Tried therapy, but couldn't afford to continue. And Eleanor? Still in Chicago. That retail job didn't last. Someone sent her employer a detailed history of her corporate fraud. She's working as a waitress now, using her mother's maiden name. Mark nodded, satisfaction cold in his chest. 5 years hadn't dulled his appetite for justice. His monitoring programs kept tabs on both of them, ensuring that any attempt to rebuild their lives met swift, calculated resistance. His laptop chimed, an email from Amelia Davidson Chin. His cousin had married Ben 2 years ago, their shared experience during the revenge plot having brought them closer. Her online newspaper, The Truth Seekers, had grown into a respected investigative journalism platform. Meeting at Anthony's for lunch, she wrote. Big news to share. Mark replied in the affirmative. Anthony's restaurant, now a chain of high-end Italian establishments, had become their regular gathering spot. The original location, where Mark's life had changed forever, remained preserved like a monument to consequences. He dressed, choosing a tailored charcoal suit. His students at Hamilton High had nicknamed him the Professor, not just for his history lessons, but for the life lessons he wove into them. His class on the fall of empires was particularly popular, especially when he used TechFront as a case study. Anthony greeted him at the restaurant with a warm handshake. The owner had prospered since Rex's downfall, his authentic Italian cuisine and honest business practices attracting a loyal clientele. The usual tables? Anthony gestured to the corner spot, the same one where Mark's marriage had ended and his revenge had concluded. Perfect. Amelia and Ben arrived minutes later, both grinning with barely contained excitement. So, Mark said, studying their faces. What's the big news? Amelia placed a tablet on the table. Remember Monica? Rex's victim from before, Eleanor. Of course. Mark had tracked down all of Rex's former victims during his revenge planning. She agreed to a full interview. Going to publish it next week. Her story, along with Sarah's and Jessica's. A complete expose on the pattern of abuse and manipulation. Rex won't like that. Mark's voice held dark amusement. That's not all, Ben added. The SEC's opening a new investigation based on some anonymous tips about hidden accounts in the Caymans. They might actually press criminal charges this time. Mark sipped his wine, satisfaction warming his chest. Eleanor involved? The evidence suggests she helped set up the accounts, Amelia confirmed. She'll be called to testify. The conversation paused as their food arrived. Anthony had prepared Mark's favorite, handmade pasta with garlic and olive oil. Simple but perfect. You know, Ben said carefully, most people would have moved on by now. 5 years is a long time to maintain this level of monitoring. Mark's eyes hardened. They didn't just betray me. They betrayed everything I believed in. Trust, loyalty, basic human decency. This isn't about revenge anymore. It's about justice. Speaking of justice, Amelia interjected. Did you hear about Rex's daughters? Mark nodded. The product of a brief marriage before Eleanor, 18-year-old Rachel Kincaid had contacted him 6 months ago. She came to my office hours, Mark said. Wanted to understand what really happened to her father. I told her everything, showed her the evidence, the documentation, the pattern of destruction he left behind. How did she take it? Better than expected. She's changed her name, started therapy. Wants to make amends for her father's actions somehow. Mark's voice softened slightly. I helped her get a scholarship to state. She has potential, shouldn't be punished for her father's sins. Amelia smiled. The teacher in you never quite died, did it? I teach differently now. Mark's eyes grew distant. My students learn about consequences, about the price of betrayal, about how one person's actions can destroy many lives. And what about you? Ben asked. Any thoughts about dating again? Mark's laugh was without humor. I've seen the darkness people hide behind smiles and promises. Relationships are just opportunities for betrayal. The conversation shifted to lighter topics, but Mark's mind wandered to his morning intelligence reports. Rex had been spotted at underground gambling dens, trying to recapture his former glory with borrowed money. Eleanor had attempted online dating under her new identity, but Mark's algorithms ensured her past followed her like a digital ghost. After lunch, Mark drove to his other property, a small tech consulting firm he'd built using the skills acquired during his revenge. Davidson Security Solutions specialized in corporate espionage prevention, teaching companies how to protect themselves from people like him. His office overlooked the city where his old life had ended and his new one had begun. On his desk sat a frame containing 2 items, the diamond necklace he'd bought for that final anniversary and Rex's expensive watch. Reminders of the moment everything changed. His phone buzzed. A text from Eleanor's latest burner phone. Please. It's been 5 years. I'm sorry. We were different people then. Mark blocked the number without responding. In his experience, people didn't change. They just got better at hiding their true nature. Later that evening, back in his mountain home, Mark reviewed his surveillance feeds. Rex stumbling out of a bar in Queens. Eleanor serving tables with defeated eyes. Their lives had become cautionary tales, and he was their dedicated historian. His laptop chimed. A message from Rachel Kincaid. Professor Davidson, I got an A on my ethics paper. The one about corporate responsibility and personal accountability. Thank you for your guidance. This brought a genuine smile to his face. Perhaps there was hope for the next generation to learn from their predecessors' failures. A final check of his systems before bed revealed new information. Rex had borrowed money from a loan shark, desperate to fund his gambling addiction. Eleanor had applied for a manager position at her restaurant. Both attempts at improvement would meet the usual resistance. Mark had automated most of these interventions now. His digital sentinels never slept, never tired, never forgave. In his home gym, practicing his martial arts routine, Mark reflected on the past 5 years. His revenge had evolved into something more permanent, a life's mission to ensure that actions had consequences, that betrayal carried a lasting price. The next morning, he stood before his advanced history class. Today's lesson is about empires, he began. About how they rise and, more importantly, how they fall. About how one person's hubris can trigger a cascade of destruction. The students leaned forward, eager. They'd all heard rumors about their teacher's past, about how he'd brought down a corporate empire with nothing but intelligence and determination. Success built on betrayal, he continued, is like a house built on sand. It might stand for a while, might even look impressive, but eventually, inevitably, the foundation crumbles. His phone vibrated. Another SEC update about Rex's hidden accounts. Another small victory in his ongoing campaign of justice. That evening, Amelia called with an update. The Monica story's going viral. Social media is exploding. People are calling for new investigations into similar cases at other companies. Good. Mark watched his monitors track the story's spread. The truth has a way of demanding attention. You know, Amelia hesitated. Eleanor's sister reached out to me. Says Eleanor's been seeing a therapist, trying to understand her actions, make amends. People always seek redemption when they've lost everything else, Mark replied coldly. Doesn't make them deserving of it. After the call, he walked his property's perimeter. The mountain air was clean and sharp, like his purpose. 5 years had refined his mission, transformed it from personal revenge into something broader, a dedication to ensuring that those who betrayed trust never escaped the consequences of their choices. His security system pinged, motion at the gate. A delivery, thick manila envelope from Ben. Inside, photos of Rex at various gambling dens, Eleanor's latest job applications, updates on their attempts to rebuild their lives. Mark added them to his files, each failure meticulously documented. Some might call his dedication obsessive. He called it thorough. A final check of his systems before midnight showed Eleanor deleting her latest dating profile, Rex being turned away from yet another job interview. Their worlds remained small, controlled, confined by the digital barriers he maintained. In his study, Mark opened his teaching planner. Tomorrow's lesson. The price of betrayal in historical context. His students would learn that history wasn't just about past events. It was about patterns, consequences, and the inescapable weight of one's choices. His phone lit up with a text from Anthony. Tables reserved for Saturday. The usual spot? Mark confirmed the reservation. That corner table had become a symbol, where his old life had ended, where his revenge had culminated, and where he now regularly sat to remind himself why he could never stop, never forgive, never forget. 5 years hadn't dulled his purpose. If anything, time had sharpened it, refined it into something more precise, more permanent. He wasn't just a man who had taken revenge. He had become its living embodiment, ensuring that those who betrayed trust would forever carry the weight of their choices. As he prepared for bed, his systems hummed with quiet efficiency, monitoring, tracking, intervening. In the morning, he would teach his students about consequences. In the afternoon, he would check his surveillance networks. And in the evening, he would ensure that somewhere in Queens, a broken man remembered why he fell. And in Chicago, a waitress understood why she could never rise again. This was his life now. Teacher, guardian of consequences, enforcer of justice.